Making the Invisible Visible, Black Women 365 Days of the Year. Each day will spotlight a remarkable woman whose story has shaped Black, British or global diasporic history. Women whose achievements are too often overlooked. Through these daily short films, we create a living, breathing archive of leadership, creativity, resistance and legacy. Let's begin.
Lélia Gonzalez spent her life exploring a contradiction at the heart of Brazilian society. Brazil has long presented itself as a nation of racial harmony, mixed, united and inclusive. Yet beneath that image lies a society shaped by deep and persistent inequalities, experienced most acutely by Black, Indigenous and poor communities. Lélia was born into that contradiction. Growing up in a working-class African-Brazilian family, she understood from an early age that there were unspoken limits where people belonged, what opportunities were available to them, and how they were perceived. Rather than accepting those limits, she began asking why they existed. She became fascinated not only by the inequalities itself, but by the ways it was hidden. How could a country claim racism did not exist while reproducing it every day? Seeking answers, Lélia studied history, philosophy and anthropology. These disciplines gave her the tools to look beneath the surface of society and understand the structures that shaped people's lives. She recognised that racism in Brazil was often subtle rather than explicit. It operated through situations, everyday practices and assumptions that influenced opportunities, identity and belonging. As a professor of anthropology, Lélia became one of the leading intellectual voices of Brazil's Black movement. But she also recognised that something was missing. There was no language that fully expressed the shared experiences of African descendant people across the Americas. National histories had separated these stories, making them appear disconnected when in reality they were deeply entwined. To address this, Lélia developed the concept of mephisenicide. It was a way of recognising that experiences of Black people in Brazil are part of a much larger diasporic story, one that connects Africa, the Caribbean and Latin America through shared histories of resistance, survival and cultural creativity. This was far more than an academic idea. It was a political act. Lélia understood that when we are naming something, we make it visible. And when we make it visible, we challenge the systems that have relied on keeping it invisible. She also insisted that Black women's experiences could never remain at the margins of conversations about equality. She argued that race and gender could not be separated because it is at the intersection that some of society's deepest inequalities are created. Black women, she argued, had too often been overlooked, both by the feminist movement that ignored race and by the anti-racist movement that overlooked gender. For Lélia, liberation could never be partial. It had to include everyone, or it was incomplete. Throughout her life, she moved effortlessly between scholarship and activism, between the university and the political arena. She never saw them as separate worlds. Knowledge was something to be studied. It was something to be used to transform society. That was Lélia Gonzalez's enduring legacy. Not simply to explain the world, but to help change it.
Thank you for joining us for today's story. Making the Invisible Visible is our commitment to ensuring that Black women's histories and contributions are recognised, valued and kept in daily circulation. Across 2026, we will continue to share these powerful narratives, 365 days of impact, brilliance and inspiration. Stay connected, join the conversation and help us champion the women whose journeys continue to shape our world. I'm Paulette Brooks and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for the next story.